Alright, so, okay, let's see, what do we got? Learning to play from behind, deciding how to play our late game team fights. And oh wait, this is just one comment. Messed up a bit in early lane phase, set you behind for most of the game, did manage to almost make a comeback after getting some shutdowns, but did some huge mistakes afterwards. Main things this game, learning to play from behind, dealing with getting ganked. I think I'm not respecting the game when I doing a W up. The other thing I'm not sure about is how I should play the later fights that I lost. Maybe not having some is kind of a detriment. I feel like I maybe should have went for the back line instead of front lining versus loud. Okay, let's have a look at it. So this game will be very interesting to see why you get ganked because you're playing Vlad versus Echo and Yone, which is like some of the least gank setup you could possibly get. So the fact that you're dying to this is kind of worrying. At the same time, it means it's probably a more fundamental thing, which is kind of good because if we fix it, it'll help you versus anything, not just like these types of champs. So let's go through and have a look. So starting with the Dark Seal, I do like that. How do I get rid of this comment again? I think I just have to wait it out, right? Maybe I click this and wait. Oh yeah, it was going away and then I moved my mouse back. Okay. Yeah, so you verse Echo, and Yone. Yeah, pretty easy. Alright, so in terms of like watching or like caring for jungle ganks, most important thing normally is just like finding out where they start. And then like you can ward kind of accordingly to that. So we'll pay attention to that here and just kind of, yeah, see how the lane's going. So far though, good harass, like the pushing. Yeah, positioning is good as well. So definitely like a good start to the lane. Don't really have any issues so far. Okay, so we see that Jin leashed, which means that the jungler started bot. So you'll probably be wanting to hug topside and also place a ward to topside. Probably when that Raptor ward expires. Or just around like 2 minutes 30 is a reasonable time. Yeah, good harass so far. So at least you don't really have to worry about the 1v1, at least from what I've seen. You're getting a lot of autos. Positioning is good. Yeah, you're hugging topside as well. I am quite curious how you actually end up dying to a gank. Okay, yeah, like crossing to this side, obviously it's not a big deal yet, but okay, let me get up Rift Kit real quick. So I talk about this in my like jungle tracking video, but when the jungler, okay, so the reason why you need to know where the enemy jungler starts is because there's like only a couple paths they can do. It's like either they do like 3 camps bot gank, 2 camps bot gank depending on what champ they are, or they can go mid from that side as well, or they just like clear the camps and go top side. Basically, what that means is that if you're going to get ganked before 2 minutes 30, it's going to be from bot side, unless they do some awful path like blue to mid, but like no one's ever going to do that. And if they do, they're just going to lose the game from their terrible path. So yeah, as long as you like play towards this side of the lane, you're safe from anything here, and you're also safe from anything while they cross the top. And then at 2:30, if you just ward here, you can continue to play in this spot, and that keeps you safe for the next like minute and a half. And then at 4 minutes, swap back to bot side, place another ward here, and that should keep you safe for the entire early game. So here, whether you realize you're doing it or not, right now you're hugging to the correct side and it's great. When you cross back to this side here, that's like scary. Like obviously you only went back there for a bit, right? So I mean it's not too bad, but you just like need to be really conscious of that. Like you want to be consistently hugging the top side. Okay, so Echo went to his red. Now here's something that's kind of up to you. So if you want to harass heavily on this wave, you need to ward first. So the thing is, right, like you can get a lot of damage on this guy while he's CSing under tower. So what I would probably do is quickly go and ward, like right now. Even though right now it's maybe not the optimal ward timing, I think right now you just go and place like a really shallow ward, like here, or even like a bit up, like there, because what you really don't want is for this wave to crash like it does, and for him just to CS the entire wave for free because you're going and warding. Now, given that you see Echo on his red, I would probably, if you end up in this situation, I would probably just not ward. I would just wait. Um, but yeah, it's like real weird. This is like the most punishable he'll ever be, and he just like gets the whole window for free. Like you see how that's really bad? Like you spend that whole wave walking away and warding, and it's just not really necessary. Either you ward earlier and harass on this wave, or you ward later knowing that he's on red anyway. So him getting all that for free, it kind of undoes all the work you just did. Like you did a lot harassing him, getting him low, building up the wave, but then you don't like cash in. You don't get like the huge harass under tower, which is like an added benefit of just being a ranged champ versus a melee champ. Okay, so this wave is going to come back to you Or at least it will, as long as you like don't harass it too much. So I'm not too sure about that E. The thing is, I think you really want to make sure this wave pushes back to you, because it's going to be really difficult for him to walk up, and you're going to be able to harass him a lot. So it might still push to you after using this E, but I would be careful. I would just like really prioritize the wave state above getting a little bit of extra harass. It looks like it's still going to push to you, so I think it's okay, but I just want you to be like thinking about it a lot. The like, or just, yeah, it's like, it's real important, right? Like the most important thing here is that the wave comes to you, which, okay, yeah. Fortunately, it is going to, so don't think it ended up being a huge deal, but it could have been, so just be really careful with that. Okay. Yeah, so I really don't like this E. Like right now, okay, the wave is still gonna push to you, I think. Actually, no, maybe it's not pushing to you. But basically, right, the whole point of crashing 3 waves and having it bounce back to you is you use those first 3 waves to build up your advantage. And then you kind of extend it further when the wave pushes back to you and you freeze it on your side. But here, it's like you just keep pushing, and it just makes it easier for him. You don't really get the full punish. Like if this wave ends up under your tower now, or like on this side, you can really easy just chase him down, right? But if you end up pushing this wave back to him, he can farm in relative safety, and there's not a great way for you to actually dive him, and also your jungler can't gank him. Like your jungler was actually nearby, so if the wave had been closer to your side, it really would have been good. So, okay, let's go early game. So I'd say so far, from what I've seen, your actual harassing and positioning is pretty good. So definitely keep that up. I think the biggest thing is like the wave control, the warding, and I guess maybe a little bit of like the hugging. Because I don't know. It's hard to say because I felt like you hugged mostly right, but also you kind of walked randomly a few times, but it's maybe minor. So ward, like try ward before the wave crashes, like, or greed the ward and harass more and just like save it. Because I think that's like, yeah, that's pretty bad. And then wave control, you pretty much always want 2 or 3 wave crash into freeze. You don't normally want like 2 or 3 wave crash into continued pushing. It doesn't really like make a lot of sense. And then hugging, just like check where jungle starts basically, and then like hug away from it, and then later like hug your vision. Now, what did you actually say in your comment? You said you messed up a little bit, messed up a bit in early lane phase after first gank. Okay, interesting. Because I think, yeah, like you've kind of already made a pretty critical mistake, I think. Like the wave is much more favorable for him, and it's still pushing back to him. And I think a lot of that is because you're just like using ease. Like, you know, this one you kind of have to do because you kind of have to fix the wave. But yeah. Okay, walking top. I don't really think you should do this. Yeah, so I really don't like this. Guess it's gonna be a kill, but okay, I mean, you actually end up getting a kill, which is really lucky, but the reason I probably wouldn't go for this is that you're playing a champ that is like very weak early and offers basically nothing to ganks. I think this is just like pretty low percentage. I mean, admittedly, okay, I guess you should probably go for it. Yeah, I guess you should probably go for it. Like, they are really pushed up and they're really low. So I guess you should go for it. But at the same time, this is like a 1 in like 100 games that you're making a roam like this, because they're like so low and your wave is like so uncontested. Yeah, I guess you should roam for it. But also realize that you do give up quite a lot for this. You once again give up the opportunity to harass under wave at all. And also you give Yone a free base. So it's like, I think the roam is still, yeah, it's still worth it, but it comes at a pretty big cost. Like, Yone should be pushing this wave right now instead of basing, and like you would lose all that, so that could be like really bad. But okay, like it went well for you, so that's great. Oh, he had ignite mid. What the hell? Okay, that's really weird. Oh, he had TP. I guess he needs ignite versus Vlad. Dude, what? Is this Blitz app that shows them how far down in gold they are? Wait, that's so broken. The hell? I didn't even know that. I've never used Blitz app. That is fucking OP. Okay, so yeah, as you know, thanks to Blitzap, you are quite far ahead in terms of gold at this point, and you definitely have sustained advantage, so you can afford to take some scrappy trades. I like all this. Wave is frozen. Yeah, very nice. This is good wave control. Make sure here. Okay, when the wave is this close to your tower, you can hug wherever you want. In fact, it's probably better to hug topside here to try get him to kind of lean towards Viego, and then Viego can gank him, right? So when the wave's under your tower, it doesn't really matter where you position. When the wave ends up out here, be very, very careful where you go. Because right now, all your vision is bot side, your Viego's bot side, and your ward. And you are like walking into their fog of war. This is like very, very scary. And you're on the wrong side of the lane. Yeah, like this is, you're kind of asking to die doing this. Like if the jungler is in this bush, it's tough. And it's much harder to stay on the opposite side of the lane and lean them towards your jungler. Okay, this is actually going to work, I guess. Yeah, it's actually going to work. But what I'm saying is like, normally when it's like closer to your tower, it's pretty safe to lean them. But like right here, unless you ward over the wall or something first, it's pretty dangerous, you know, because like their jungler can just be here too. Like he might be leaning you into his jungler. So yeah, I guess at this point, you probably just have to, yeah, okay, it's pretty unfortunate, I think. Yeah, okay, first, in terms of execution, I think you made this, like, way too fast. Like, what I'd probably do is, I'd maybe just, like, charge my Q, and just, like, that might bait him to walk up, and then, what's his name? Viego can come closer. And also you just, like, tank a ton of creep aggro here, so you make it possible for him to turn. Another thing is, you should pop potion during this fight. So there's definitely, okay, you did pop it. There's definitely ways you can execute it better, but I think the biggest problems is like it's very risky to be hugging this side, especially if you don't ward. Like if you quickly like pink this and ward over the wall, then it's probably fine. And then yeah, like if you're setting up this gank, try play it just a little bit slower. Like Q and walk back, or don't Q and just E into him. You know, like because Q is what makes you take the damage here, because it's what draws creep aggro on this whole wave. So if you just like walk up and E him, that could work, because it won't draw creep aggro. And then like you wait for Viego, and then when Viego's close to your Q. So there's definitely a lot of ways you can execute this better. But yeah, that is pretty unfortunate. Because it was going pretty well for you. Wait, did he die? No, he didn't die. Okay. Yeah, so it's in a like, it's still playable for sure, but obviously if you fall behind on Vlad, it becomes a lot harder because Vlad's like very finely tuned. You know, it's like if you're even, you have enough sustain to deal with your opponents. But if you fall behind, suddenly you don't have the sustain necessary. This is kind of bad, in my opinion. So when you fall behind, like, yeah, okay. So like right now, right? You are pretty far behind in terms of just like power. Even if you're similar in terms of like gold and everything, it's like he is level 6 versus you're level 5. He also has like a spike here and you don't. Like he has tier 2 boots, which are really good spike for Yone. You have CDR, which is obviously like really good on Vlad, but it's not like a spike that's really going to allow you to fight people. It allows you to like whittle them down, but doesn't allow you to actually like trade with people, right? So here, like you were trying to contest priority, or like you were trying to push actually when you shouldn't. You're the one being aggressive, even though you're very far behind. Like your goal at this point, when you fall this far behind, is to just ward the lane and try stop him from roaming, and then try not to like die at all. So like you should always be thinking, you know, what is my goal right now, like with the lane. So early game, I think you had like a really good plan and it was going like really well. And sure, like you misexecuted a little bit, but it's like mostly fine. But now that you're behind, you're still playing as if you're ahead. Yeah, maybe a little bit with, we already talked about like the execution stuff, but I'll just put that in there, like trying to play slower, maybe like be careful which side you hug, like with no vision, just that sort of stuff from before. But yeah, like think about what your goal is. If you fall behind, it's literally just like ward and try just like neutralize. Try not to take trades like this, because even though you've got more sustain, it kind of makes it like easier for him. And then given that you burned pool, you need to play like very safe now. Like the fact that you're like this far up with no pool is pretty fucking risky. Like, yeah, that is just... That's really far up. Wait, what? How did I open this? There we go. So yeah, I think you're just too far up. You end up having to ghost and ult, which is like... It's okay, but... Again, it's like better for him, I think. Yeah, because like you really don't want to be forced off CS like this. Like you can claim jungle diff or whatever here, but the reality is like they can't do this if you still have ult and ghost. But the reason they're able to walk you up this tower is because you have lost so much HP trying to contest priority, even though you can't get the priority. Like it's not like by contesting this you actually got the priority. No, like you just contested it and lost everything on the way there. And so now you're getting like walked off waves as a scaling champ. So like, okay, the first death is like whatever, right? It's like there's a bit of misexecution. It could have easily been like played a little bit better. There's a bunch of things that we could have done like, I don't know, a tiny bit better. But overall, it like wasn't that horrible. But this is like really fucking bad. This is more game losing than the first one. This is like not adapting to falling behind and then just continuing to play the same way. So yeah, basically, I think now you probably just have to leave the tower. Again, you're trying to walk up with no flash, no ghost, no ult, no pool. You have like literally nothing and you're walking into him. So that doesn't make sense, right? But I think like none of that happens if you just kind of like change your plan once you fall behind. Because the game is so winnable. Even if Yone gets a kill, it's like whatever. It's honestly a lot worse if Echo gets a kill compared to if Yone gets a kill. Just because junglers can snowball with kills so much harder. So yeah, here I would just like personally I would ward the lane. I would just like ward the middle of the lane, like maybe right there. And that way that'll just tell you where Yone's roaming to. And Yone's like not that great at roaming anyway, so you should be fine, even if he like looks to roam. But yeah, you just like want to kind of know exactly where he's going. And other than that, like you just chill. Yeah, you're not really like worried too much about like what's happening. Yeah, like this is all fine, right? You're pretty much undiveable. You're still getting all the CS. Like Yone isn't able to find anything with his lead. I think this is good at the start, but then I think it turns bad. Like if you just kite away with your phase rush here rather than like trying to take so the thing is Vlad is not particularly good at extended trades. You know, that's why Vlad suffers with stuff like Vlad, Cassio, or Yone, you know, like that sort of stuff that has really good extended trades. You're pretty good against like burst trade champs because you both burst each other and then you heal back. So here, if you verse an extended trade champion as like a short burst trade champion, you just want to like take a small trade and then just like walk back to your tower. But if you stay on him, you allow him to extend the trade by 1 auto, 2 autos, 3 autos, and a Q. So like you make that trade, honestly, like a lot worse for you. You get okay. He takes a tower shot, which is like what makes it okay. But I think if like you could have played more on your range and then like maybe queued him on the way out. Yeah, you're kind of lucky he takes a tower shot to be honest, because he can also disengage here before he gets queued, and then it's like pretty good for him as well if he doesn't take the empowered Q and the tower shot. And also, I think if you're the one that's losing, you generally don't want to be heavy trading. Like, you're just trying to make sure you don't die. So, taking, like, extremely heavy trades normally favors the person that's winning because they can get you closer to dying, but you can't really get them closer to dying. Yeah, like, I think that's fine. Just, like, take a small trade, walk away. Yep, just stay. I don't think he can dive you unless, like, you waste your cooldowns. Like, this is one of Yone's biggest weaknesses, same with Yasuo, is that they're very good at 1v1, they're very good at getting priority, but they can't do a whole lot with it. They can't dive, they're not very good at roaming. Now that it's, like, a bit harder to farm jungle camps early, it's harder to just, like, do random scuttles and stuff. So, a lot of the time, you can just, like, AFK and kind of scale. Now, this ward is pretty fucking useless, honestly. If you're going to ward, well, one echoes top, so you don't really need to ward right now. If you don't have time to ward, just ward a tiny bit outside the bush because it gives way more vision. Otherwise, just ward the lane, and that way you'll know what Yone's doing. Just in general, like, wards in those side bushes are pretty useless. Like, see how by the time you see Echo on this ward, it's already almost too late. So if you just place it, like, ideally, you place it up here, right? like in there. But if you don't have time, just place it there because it actually provides like way, way, way more vision. So you avoid the gank. It's good. Yeah, so if we're talking about these in terms of avoiding ganks, the biggest reason this happens is one, you're behind, right? Like naturally you get ganked more if you're behind. And that first gank, the one that like killed you under tower, that was because you did a bunch of trades at times where you couldn't trade. And this one is because your ward is in a pretty useless spot. It's like by the time you see him, you're still forced into burning pool. So, where are the notes? I think, yeah, it's like try minimize trades when behind, just like try to chill under tower, chill out under tower. Yeah, ward further out if possible, or ward the lane, because the places you've placed your wards have been pretty useless, honestly. Okay, like, yeah, this is all fine. A gank like this, yeah, I'd also say this is somewhat a result. Like, again, the problem is this ward isn't far enough out to actually help you. Like, I think you're hugging the right side because your vision is topside, but it's much better, you know, if you can ward, like, again, that pixel bush, although that wouldn't save you from this gank, but it would have saved you from the previous one, or if you can ward over the wall, which wouldn't save you from the first gank, but it would save you from this one. The ideal setup, by the way, is to pink this bush and ward up here, and that is what gives you total coverage. If you want like half and half, you can ward there, but you know it can miss some of both. Or yeah, like if you're confident you can't get ganked through river, you can ward there. Or yeah, if you're confident you can't get ganked over the wall, like you can ward there. So there's lots of options, but ideally, like you use this pink. I think you've actually had this pink a while. Yeah, so you probably could have, like even now, you could pink by Herald. Although he's basing, right? Yeah, okay. So you probably didn't feel like you had the ward. This is annoying though, but I mean, it's fine. Okay, we're back to lane. Yeah, so the reason this happens, well, actually, you see him going bot, so maybe you don't notice, but okay, yeah, no, you see him going bot. I was gonna say it's because he backed off and like walked through fog, but he actually walked down through vision. Wait, are you picking? Oh, you're pinging Echo. Okay, so when you're pinging someone missing, always use the retreat ping. Or use the one that you're like spamming on top lane right now. People don't notice missing pings. Like here, just ping bot side, like with the red ping, a couple times so that Zaya knows, because people are too focused on their laning phase to like notice missing pings. Like, yeah, you're doing a good job pinging, it's just not like the right pings, you know? People don't really respect those pings enough. Okay, so Yone ends up bot. Okay, nice. They do manage to get out. You push the wave. Good punish. Okay, here again, this is sort of hugging the wrong side. So, like right now, your pink is bot side, right? So you're pushing this, and I can understand wanting to hug top side, maybe away from the Yone. But like after you see Yone, then you go back to hugging bot side, because that's where your safety is. Like you saw Echo top side, you don't know where Alawi is, and you're like hugging towards the side where you're most vulnerable. So, I mean, Vlad is hard to gank, so you're getting away with it quite a lot, but it shouldn't really be happening so much. I think it mainly happens because you're hugging the wrong side. I would say it's even probably the same thing here. So you, just as like a general rule, you never want to be just like in the middle of the lane. You either want to be like playing this side of the lane, like the right side, top side, or bot side, right? So when you're just like standing in the middle of the lane, that tells me that you don't really consider it. Like, okay, if you're hugging this side, maybe you still get ganked. But it's just like a tiny bit harder to gank, it's a tiny bit harder to kill you. People might second guess it because you're positioned further away. And also, you are walking up once again without pull. So you used pull to dodge this gank, which is great, right? But now you need to be respectful for 20 more seconds. And now if you'd hugged correctly, you probably wouldn't have had to burn your pull in the first place, and then you would have pull for this gank. But yeah, the fact that you don't, Yeah, they just kind of kill you. So I would say, honestly, like my biggest feedback would just be to work on hugging so far. Like I think that's really important. But also, you really gotta, like, cooldowns are really important. So both respecting and punishing. So obviously you want to punish like your opponent when he uses cooldowns, like his E or whatever. But you also really need to respect your own cooldowns. Like when your W is on CD, you need to be really careful because that's like they're going to try trade or gank or punish when your W is on cooldown. W is kind of like Flash in a way, and that it kind of acts as like a second chance for you while you have it. But then once it's gone, it's actually not too bad if you respect while it's gone. Like what you often see in like competitive is like a jungler will gank and burn the laner's flash. And a lot of the time the laner won't die again, but they'll be forced to play safe for the next 5 minutes, which is like, in pro play, that's like actually a pretty good outcome. Now in solo queue, what normally happens is someone loses flash, they don't play safe, and then they die again. But you can easily just like respect a bit more. Same with the W. And yeah, like you're very far behind. I think at this point, you just saw Yone use sweeper, so I'd probably wait for that to run out, and then I'd ward the lane again, try and figure out where he's roaming to. Okay, there's his Herald. You're hugging bot sides, so you should be fine. Good pull, but now you need to be careful. Okay, you're still fine, still fine. Yeah, it is pretty hard to contest Yone now. Like, you are just, like, really far behind. I don't think there's, like, too much else you can do here. Ooh, that was nice. That was really nice. Yeah, nice. That was really well played. Okay. So why does this happen? Well, it's because, once again, if you just pause and look at the map. No vision topside, no vision bot side. You have no W, no R, no ghost, no flash. You're as gankable as you could possibly be. So if you want to push out this wave on half HP with no sums and no vision, you either just base straight away, but you don't have enough gold for Night Harvester. So you probably don't want to do that. So what I'd probably instead do is try ward topside. Like, okay, ward over this wall. Where's my Rift Kit? Let's do this. So go here and then ward like that maybe. And then on this next wave, hug really heavily to this side and probably wait until you have pool. So like, let's see. Like this, you place a really shallow ward, which is, if Echo's topside, you're still going to die. But you can at least hug to it. So here, you don't quite have pool yet. Okay, you end up getting it in time. Okay, in all honesty, I think you're dead to this gank no matter what. This guy's 2-fed. He's 4-1. So, I suppose then that you just shouldn't push this out. Maybe you just sell refillable. You don't have enough though, right? Let's see. When did you ping that you needed 148 gold? Oh wait, you have Night Harvester. I didn't even, okay, my bad. I didn't even fucking realize you had so many components. I guess it's just because, okay, I'm an idiot. So you have Night Harvester here. So you just need to base. Like, I guess, like, the big thing is you need to recognize how greedy it is to push this wave with, like, literally nothing. I think if you needed your Night Harvester here still, I would probably try push it. But this is, like, insane. And you might want to start just, like, doing a thing where you kind of, like, almost, like, take stock of your cooldowns and just like realize, oh, and the map, just like look for, what cooldowns do I have, like what vision is there, because this is just the greediest possible thing. Like, yeah, okay, so you type just getting camped by top jungle entire game, and like, yeah, that is obviously really frustrating, and it's probably the worst thing about mid is that mid is, at least in my opinion, obviously biased because I'm a mid laner, right? But I think mid lane is the most difficult role to avoid ganks. You have to avoid like constant ganks from top jungle and support. And now, as you can probably like see from this replay, right, there are ways to avoid them. But like, I think you as a mid laner have to be so aware of that compared to a lot of other roles. Don't need to think of it. They just need to know kind of like which side the jungler is on. Like, is he top side or bot side? And they just kind of like trade around that. Like if jungler's on their side, they just like chill. If the jungler's on the other side, they play aggro. But the thing with mid is you can play aggro all the time, but the cost of that is that you can also get ganked the whole time too. So yeah. But I think you should be able to take away from this that all those ganks were avoidable. I think. Maybe not the last one, but then the last one you already had what you wanted, so you should have just based anyway. Okay, so this feels more like a tilt play than anything. Actually, yeah, I don't know. I think that the problem with this again is you you don't have ult or flash, or particularly ult. I just think a Vlad without ult doesn't add much to the fight. I'd probably try and play this a bit slower, like play on the edge of the fight a bit more. Because I think like going really deep without ult is pretty fucking scary. Like maybe now you just like kite straight out instead of kind of like trying to AoE. Because yeah, like dying again, like now you're 0-5. It's just, okay, you got a shutdown. So that was nice. How big was the shutdown? Oh, it was just 350. So I guess you have, yeah, I mean, okay, so you had a small bounty. I mean, I think just the problem is, okay, if you're 0-4, your agency of the game is kind of already gone. Now your kind of plan just changes to like, okay, I'm just gonna try like farm up, and if my team can hold on long enough, then maybe I can be like a secondary carry. But your kind of chance to 1v9 the game is like long gone. So yeah, I don't really like how you keep playing like turbo aggressive. At least when you didn't have ult. Like right here, this looks better to me even. Although Zai's dead, so maybe it doesn't look that good. But like here, at least you would have all cooldowns and you would have ults. Yeah, like I don't hate this. This looks fine to me. Although baby's unkillable. Oh my god, you got him right. Yeah, you got him, you got him. Oh my god, that was so close. Yeah, but okay. Imagine if you were just missing one cooldown here, like you actually would have lost. But yeah, no, that was good. I'm not sure. I don't think you knew your limits. Well, maybe you did, but I think that was just like, if I were you in that situation, I would just, yeah, once you get that low, you just gotta go for it. Um, yeah, so that's like a pretty big kill, but again, you need to be quite careful until you get your cooldowns back. Yeah, this fight you have ult, but you don't have any sums. Okay, yeah, I don't hate it as long as we get ready to kind of turn around. Yeah, I would be like a little careful about re-engaging this. Yeah, I like the start of it. Like, I like this part when you still have cooldowns. Okay, you go in, use all CDs. I think now you probably just turn around and go back to midwave. I think, especially now. Like, now just go midwave, I think. Go back to farming. Yeah, so this is never going to work because you're half HP. Once again, cooldown check. You have no W, R, flash, or ghost. So you just can't really do this. And you're much better off just farming. Like, the thing is here, you're not making it very easy for your team to carry the game. Like, the game's not really up to you to carry anymore. It's more just like, maybe if it goes late, you can carry. But worst case, if you just like don't feed, then it gives your team a chance to carry. And like doing this, I'd actually say is kind of good. Like even if you die for this, you're getting farm, you're wasting their time, and your team is like farming up as well. Like even if you die here, I actually don't mind it. And I think you might be out. Maybe it's still dead echo. No, you're good. Okay, I like that. That was good. Even though you had to use cooldowns, it kind of like slows down the game a bit. And you were still getting CS, so that's all really good. Okay, so dragons up. You have ult in 20, so be careful committing. In fact, you know, given that Casante's top, I don't think you okay, he's pinging TP, so I guess he wants to fight. Here, I'd be thinking, like, I want to stall this fight for 12 more seconds, so I have my ult. So don't be too aggressive before that. Like, yeah, this is real bad. Losing your phase rush and your W before you have ult is like, you're gonna have way lower impact now. Because now it's really difficult for you to team fight. Imagine now you have W and phase rush and you go in. Now you can probably just like clean both these guys up. But instead you just okay, you got him. Nice, nice. But I think this was like, yeah, you played it real bad. So once again, like really trying to consider the cooldowns. Vlad is a champ that kind of needs to sync his cooldowns up. You know, it's not like what's another champ? Maybe like LeBlanc can kind of rotate her cooldowns a bit. She doesn't need to use them all at the same time, although it can be good. It's like not required. But Vlad, if you just like lose your pull and phase rush before the fight, like even though now you have ult, it's quite difficult to kind of yeah to kind of actually use it. Good kill though. That was very very close. Okay. Sorry about the dog. I don't know what. Anyway, okay. So we're just gonna have to ignore the dog. Hopefully she chills out. But okay, so after this fight, let's see. So you got the kill. Push bot wave. Oh god. Sorry. I'll be right back 1 second. You might have to skip like a minute ahead. Alright, I'm back. I've silenced the dog for now. Okay, so back on track. Sorry about that little interruption. So you get this kill. I think, okay, you can kind of come back to this fight. These people are kind of low, but I think you should be thinking about turning around. Like, we don't have cooldowns here, so if we can find something, it's good, but we don't really, like, want to fight. It's only if we get, like, a freebie or something. So, yeah, I actually like what you did here. Now you come back. You have phase rush. Yeah, I think this could be winnable. Ooh, Echo got the ult off. But yeah, good playing on your range. Ooh, okay, so I think you could have won this. Let's just see. So I think it's very, very close. Let's see. EQ. Okay, so I think after you EQ that guy, you need to just like back off for a bit. And just like, yeah, just like almost like wait for your teammates to kind of re-engage. Like you see how your teammates are both backing off here. Here, you just need to like back out. If your teammates go back in, you can go back in, but you don't want to end up back here like on your own. So I actually think this, yeah, this is definitely winnable if you play it slow. I think just like use that movement speed to kind of, yeah, it's like run down a little bit and just wait, and then try not to be like too far in here. Maybe if you could have procced phase rush, yeah. It was close though. I actually don't mind going for that. Slight misexecution. If you're you know any more kills, like if you have 5 kills or something or more CS, just less deaths, you definitely get the kills there. So I don't really mind that. I actually think it was a good attempt. Okay, so we got Rabadons. We have Sums. Don't have a flank. Can you block this? Okay, so this, in my opinion, I think you need to find... I would honestly just try find a flank. So I would like go like over this way here and try get ready to like ghost behind them, because I think just like playing frontline Vlad like this, it means you can't really ult the backline. Okay, this guy just didn't ult. But I think like normally... Oh, actually, I think he's dead anyway because he got rooted. Yeah, I think he would have died anyway. So it's really good that you got the shutdown, but I think this fight would probably be just like, you'd probably kill them all here if you were able to flank and ult their backline. But instead, the only person you actually... I'm not even sure if your ult hits Echo. I think it might even just be Alawi. And that's like pretty much the most useless person, right? Like if you're thinking on their team, like who is the most impactful people, it's probably like Sona #1, Yone #2, Jin number... Or, sorry. No, it's probably like Echo number one, Sona number two, then like Yone, Echo, Alawi. Like I think Alawi is like the least important. And generally, like front to back, Vladimir is just not really the best. It's much harder to get in. It's like harder to chase people down. You can't get your ult in the back line. And then I think once you end up in this situation, you probably just like, okay, given that your team is now killing Alawi, you just kind of zone their backline, but don't like fully commit to them. You know, like I think you can easily get out here, but you kind of spend a bit too long. Like you need to be moving back with your pool a little bit quicker. You know, like you spend a fair amount of time just like underneath them still. I think that causes you to die. Again, like if you're more fed, you can like make these mistakes and you'll probably still win the fight. But I think it's like kind of too much. Just like given that you're like behind, you don't have like Zonya or anything. So let me just like skip through the rest of the team fights. Now, do you actually need this void? Because on oh wait, let me check their items. Okay, so I wouldn't go void here. They only have like one source of magic resist, which is on Alawi. I think it's just better to go Zonya's this game. Like Zonya's is like pretty damn good. Or if you even feel like you don't need Zonya's, you could do something like Cosmic Drive or something. I just think obviously Void is really high damage, but yeah, they don't have a lot of magic resist. It doesn't look like they're really building it either. Like you see Echo's building a Zonya's last. Well, I guess and what's his name? Yone's building like a GA or something. Yeah, so it doesn't look like anyone's itemizing MR. I think you can get more damage either by just, I mean, you could even build a Shadow Flame if you wanted, just like pure damage. But I think, yeah, I think that is probably not the play. So I don't really mind being here either. I actually think this is good. Like you're getting pinged by your team, but I think this is sort of fine. Drags in a minute. So like if you die here, you can probably still get back in time. And honestly, yeah, I think you're okay. Yeah, I don't mind being here at all. Okay, I do think that you probably could have played this better again. So let's see. I think we have second queue. I think here. Hmm. Where did you use ult? Okay, so you solo ulted Echo. I think here you need to play it a bit slower. Like you need to like kite out, wait for your ult heal, and also you probably need to flash. Like I think this is a 1-for-1 at best, but it can definitely be a 1-for-1, I think, if you play it a little better. Also, it might just be better to ult Sona and just like try guarantee the kill. Okay, that's nice. Good for your team. Okay, and then this fight. Yeah, this fight you have everything, so it should be pretty easy. I like what you're doing here. Kind of threatening the back line. That guy's hinting. You can just like camp his thing. Yeah, I really like this fight. So I think you missed your R, but I really like what you're doing in this fight. This is like threatening the flank. You're making it really hard for Yone to play. I think you probably should ghost early here, and I think you definitely should be able to get a 3-man ult onto their backline. If you get a 3-man ult onto this here, like your job is done. You're doing really well. Did it actually go on Jhin? I can't even tell. Oh, it did go on Jhin. Okay. I guess this thing just has like way bigger AoE than I thought it did. But yeah. So I really like how you played this fight. I think if you're more fed, this is just like a 1v3 triple kill. Sadly, you're just like kind of weak, but like you still did really good. Yeah, okay, no, you actually 1v9 this fight, even though you're really behind. So that was great. Yeah, you were really fed. No. Okay, so we push. I think I would probably spread out a bit more after this. So I think after you get this Echo kill, your team can take these mid towers without you, I think. Yeah, they have 4 dead. I think here, I would either go top wave and try push that in all the way before resetting, or I'd try take their whole top jungle or something. Just like after a fight, normally it's better to spread out a bit, I think. Because you can normally get more gold if you spread out. Okay, we find Alawi. Nice, you managed to save ult as well. That was worth it. Nice pull. Ooh, that was rough. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you're doing pretty well. So you can definitely play Vlad from ahead. It's just we gotta work on the from behind part. Okay, I think this game looks pretty like over to me. Oh yeah, you said in your comment maybe you should have went for the back line. Yeah, you definitely Vlad is not very good at front to back. Yeah, like this classic example. You just if you can't access the back line, you're just so useless. I think here, either take the portal and end up behind them, or even walk up the river and threaten the flank. Because killing Alawi, like this guy has a Spirit Visage, so I guess that's like why you build the Void, but that's like not the person you care about killing. You care about killing the other people. Normally, just like let your ADC deal with the tanks. Unless like tons of them have MR. Let's skip through the rest of this. How do we die here? Okay, you went for like some hero play. Yeah, I mean, I don't really mind anything at this point because like we've had 11 deaths already, so there's like so much of the game we can clean up. I feel like anything else that happens here is like kind of obviously it changes the game, but it's like not that relevant. You really like the most important death is your first death. The second most important death is your second death because every death like makes the next one more difficult, you know, like puts you further behind. So you should always be if you like go in your replay and you like look at deaths, just fix like the first 3 ideally. And a lot of the time, that'll mean the later ones don't even happen. Okay, so you did manage to get the Yone. I think you're probably just dead, though. Allows just like a bit too strong. Okay, so I think what I would say from this game is... Let's write down the mid-game stuff. So I think mid-game was like... team fighting, I think, yeah, finding flanks, like target priority. What else do we have? It was like... Yeah, I guess like just like try not to front to back on Vlad. I think also after fights, try spread out more. That was another one. I guess another one would be to like be patient a bit. So try like sync your cooldowns up. I'm just thinking of like, you know, where you kind of walked in and you like burn your phase rush and your W before you had ult ready. And just in general, like think about your WR flash ghosts like all the time. You need to be thinking about those, like, do I have them or do I not? And then I guess another thing would be to try track your teammates, just like see what they're up to and play around them. You know, like when they're Vlad and Cassante, I think it was, were like backing off, but then you were trying to still go in. I think that led to some more deaths, but honestly, I would worry way more about cleaning up the early game than the mid game. So biggest things to work on, I think your early wave control could definitely be fixed. And then I think the early wave control, definitely like you're warding both like further out and better timing, I think, to allow yourself to harass more and stuff like that. The hugging massively needs to improve. Like that'll keep you from safe from gank. So hug towards like vision / safety. And then also cooldown respect. I think you actually did a pretty good job. Like I feel like this is kind of becoming a roasting session, but honestly you played like aggressively in the lane very, very well. Like you were punishing on CS really well. You were harassing him a lot. The only real big mistake you did was when you kind of just like let the wave crash. So your cooldown punishment was actually quite good, but your cooldown respect needs to be way better because you just like kind of you waste the like there's always 2 parts to it. It's like the first problem is like you've burned the cooldown and that sucks, but you can at least deal with it if you respect it and wait for it to come back up. But if you don't do that, then yeah, it can get really out of hand pretty quick. And I think that's kind of why you're dying. I also think, like, yeah, how to play from behind. So it's just like, yeah, try and minimize trades. Like, don't lose HP. Keep up CS. Try stop enemy from roaming. Just like, yeah, you need to just chill. Like, imagine if you didn't have, like, just a huge deficit to Yone. If it was just the first death that happened and then nothing else after that, it would honestly be fine. And then I guess like the other things would be for team fighting, so just like yeah, flank / target priority. But I would say these are the big ones. If you can clean up the early game, you're gonna find the game so much easier because you played a lot of the team fights pretty well. It's just like you were so far behind and had such a huge deficit that it didn't really matter. So I'll copy this to you. Let me know if you have any questions. Sorry it sort of ended up as a roasting session, but the good news is you're doing a lot of hard stuff well already. Like the laning phase was mostly pretty good. It's just like, yeah, you gotta think about how to like play around the jungle and stuff. But it should be reasonably easy to fix. But yeah, let me know if you're like unsure how to kind of fix it or you have questions about it.